Hello guys, in this lecture we are going to see the conductivity of insulators, metals and semiconductors in terms of energy band. Also we are looking for the chemical bonds in silicon and germanium and also the intrinsic semiconductors. Let's see the band structure of semiconductor. The difference in conductivity of conductors, semiconductors and dielectrics is due to the particularities of their internal structure. An adequate explanation is given by the quantum mechanics concepts of energy bands in solids. In metals, the electrons orbiting in the outer shells of the atoms can easily pass from one atom to another. In order to accomplish this movement from one atom to another atom, the electrons must be excited, that is, must be imparted a certain amount of energy in addition to one of they normally possesses in their respective orbits. According to the modern theory of atomic structure, a discrete amount of energy called as quantum, which has to be added to an electron to make it leave its orbit. In the normal unexcited state, the electrons in the atoms comprising a given material, which may only possesses a definite amount of energy and occupy certain energy levels. These levels form what are termed as energy bands and may be filled by the outer shell's electrons, not more than 2 on every allowed energy level. If the material under consideration consists of atoms which have no other allowed energy levels, the electrons will be unable to leave their orbits and pass from one atom to another as they cannot change their energy level and therefore it have to remain in the filled band. If however the atoms in their normal quantum states that are at unoccupied higher energy levels, their electrons may be excited and caused to move from one atom to another. If the energy levels of the filled band and the conduction or empty band overlap, a slight excitation will cause electrons to pass from a filled to a conduction band. A material consisting of such atoms will therefore excited high conductivity and be a conductor. Side by side, here one figure is shown. This figure, which illustrates the energy levels in conductors, which is shown here for semiconductors, second one, and third is it is for insulators. In cases where the atoms of material concerned have an energy gap lying between field and conduction band, that is they have band of energy levels band of energy levels which the electrons in the atoms are forbidden to reach, the material will not be able to act as a conductor. For example, from the figure you can see here, there is a no gap between the two energy bands, and where where the gap appears between the two energy bands, that is nothing but Eg, which is showing with the Eg energy band, which is of 1 electron volt, which is also called as forbidden band. But as compared to the semiconductor and insulators, for the conductors, they're not having a energy gap, and for insulator, as compared to the semiconductor, this energy gap is more. As you can see here, for semiconductor, it is supposed to be energy gap is nothing but 1 electron volt. Instead of that, for insulator, it is to be very large, as Eg is equal to 6 electron volt. If the difference between the energy levels of field and the conduction band is small, the electron will only require a small amount of energy, that is thermal energy, to become excited and pass into the conduction band. Materials of such a class are semiconductors. In semiconductors, the forbidden band has a width of 0.12 to 5.3 electron volt. Normally it is of 1 electron volt at room temperature. In this figure shows only with the 1 electron volt. It may be varies from 0.12 to 5.3 electron volt. The material in which the energy gap is still higher, that is, you can say in energy gap is approximately equal to 6 electron volt, then the electron do not leave the filled band even by thermal excitation. Such materials are dielectrics, and that are also called as insulators. In these materials, the passage of electrons into the conduction band may only be accidental and occur because of some defect in the structure of the material. Energy band gap is the most important characteristics of the semiconductor. The band gap of gallium arsenide in about 1.43 electron volts, which corresponds to light wavelength in the near infrared. In contrast, gallium phosphorus has a band gap of about 2.3 electron volt, corresponding to wavelengths in the green portion of the spectrum. As a result of wide variety of semiconductors band gaps, light emitting diodes and lasers can be constructed with wavelengths over a broad range of infrared and visible portions of the spectrum. Let's see the chemical bond in silicon and germanium. Silicon and germanium, these are the most commonly used semiconductors, which are the elements of fourth column in periodic table. They are tetravalent atoms, that is, their outer shell contains 4 electrons that are available to react with electrons of other atoms. In a solid crystalline state, silicon and germanium have diamond structure. If we consider a two-dimensional representation, then the silicon lattice will look like as shown in here, this figure, which is like a shape of the diamond. All electrons are in the valence state. All the electrons in valence state. You can see here this electron valence band shown here with the electron. Or put in another way, each silicon atom is bonded covalently to four other silicon atoms. Suppose that from in this figure, this one silicon having a 4 electrons in its outer orbit. So this is the first, second, third, and fourth. If this silicon is bonding with another silicon, then it will create a valence band which is of with the pair of electrons. You can say here again appear this silicon having a 4 electrons in its outer orbit, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So like that it becomes a covalent bond. If we supply some energy to the lattice, either as heat or as a light, then some electrons will receive enough energy to become free. The energy supplied will allow some of the electrons to jump from valence band to conduction band. For silicon, the forbidden gap, that is gap between the valence and the conduction band, is 1.1 electron volt. You can see in this figure, this is the conduction band, this is the valence band, and the gap is nothing but a forbidden band. For the silicon, this silicon forbidden band is nothing but of 1.1 electron volt. These free electrons, you can see also here, one conduction band having a one free electron and a valence band having a one free hole, that is positive charge ion. These free electrons or conduction can move very readily from one atom to the another atom and in effect wander through the lattice at random. If an electric field is applied to the lattice, then the movement will cease to be random. Electrons will move against the field, that is, they become directional and current flows. If an electron becomes free, that is, it jumps from valence bonds to covalent bond. So suppose that from this figure, with the reference of this figure, we can consider that this electron, suppose this electron is free electron. It means that it is ready to jump from valence band to conduction band. So from if any one of the electron is free in this valence band, it will jump to the covalent band. So same structure is shown in this figure here. One free electrons here coming into the picture and one hole is there. As we know, electrons of negative charge and hole is of positive charge. So there should be a force of attraction between the two charges. That's why with the thermal energy or heat energy or light energy, it is this free electron is jumping from valence band to covalent band with instead of this hole. And also this figure shows bottom figure shows a bond in which the electron is now free and leaving a hole means it is creating a vacant position. Under the influence of an applied field, the electrons move from negative to positive. It flows that in a band with the deficiency of electrons, holes. These will appear to move with the field, that is, they act as a positive charge. These positive charges called holes. In pure germanium and silicon, the number of free electrons must be equal to the number of mobile holes. Such semiconductors are called intrinsic semiconductors. Just I am repeating here. In pure germanium and silicon, the number of free electrons must equal to the number of mobile holes. Such semiconductors are called intrinsic semiconductors. In such semiconductors, the conduction is due to electrons and holes only from the silicon atoms and not from any foreign atoms. The electrons and holes are collectively termed as charge carriers. It is apparent that more the energy is supplied, the more charge carriers are generated. This explains one of the characteristic property of the semiconductor. There decreases the resistivity with temperature, and so it is called as inverse temperature coefficient. Let's see the conductivity of intrinsic semiconductor. The conductivity of a metal is given by the sigma is equals to n into E square tau divided by m, where this n is nothing but small n is the density of conduction electrons and tau is nothing but the relaxation time. The current flows through a pure semiconductor is carried by two kinds of carriers, namely electrons and holes. Thus, the relation of conductivity has to be modified with the density of conduction electrons, which is indicating with small n in the suffix e, and the density of holes that indicating with the small n in the suffix h. As Ne and Nh as conduction electrons and holes per meter cube respectively, the conductivity of semiconductors becomes the sigma is equals to, this is a general equation of conductivity. Suppose we have electrons as well as holes and we want to calculate the conduction of electrons and holes per meter cube. So combinedly it is first term is nothing is related with the electron, that's why in the suffix it is written as E, and second term is related with the holes, that is conduction due to the holes and conduction due to the electrons, where tau E and tau H are the relaxation times for electrons and holes respectively. And here also M mentioned ME and MH. ME and MH are nothing but effective masses of electrons and holes respectively. The effective mass of electrons and holes come into the picture for the reason that in modern theory of solids, the electrons are described in terms of wave mechanics. As a result of wave character of the electrons, the motion of electrons in a crystal under the influence of the electric field is different from that of an electron in free space. The theory shows that this difference can be expressed formally by introducing an effective mass, that is ME, for an electron in a crystal form, so that acceleration produced by an electric field is still given by the equation as A is equals to minus E, A is equals to minus E into capital E divided by ME. This is the acceleration produced by the electric field for the electrons. The conductivity of an absolutely pure semiconductors is called the conductivity of absolutely pure semiconductors is called as the intrinsic conductivity, which is indicating by sigma, and it is commonly written as sigma in the suffix I. It is nothing but intrinsic conductivity. It is written in the suffix as a I. all of the carriers then arise from the electron hole pairs that are generated when the thermal energy breaks the covalent bonds. Electron and holes are thus always present in equal concentration in an intrinsic semiconductors. That's why here number of what we can say, uh, the density of conduction electrons and density of holes both are same. We can also define for a semiconductor there are two mobilities, one for electrons which is indicating by mu e, and another one is nothing but holes which is indicating by mu h. And the mu h can be defined as mu e is nothing but e into tau e divided by me, and mu h is equal to e into mu h upon mh. This both the equation represents the average drift velocity produced by a field of 1 volt per meter. Thus, the intrinsic semiconductor, which is called as intrinsic concentration, it is written as Ne is equals to Nh is equals to Ni, I for intrinsic concentration. So it can be represented as sigma I is equals to Ne into E mu E plus mu H is equal to Ni into E square. We know that the value of mu E and mu H, just substitute these both the values mu E and mu H in this equation, then we will get that Ni into E square into bracket tau E upon Me plus tau H upon Mh. The intrinsic concentration, that is Ni, is very sensitive to temperature because of the effect of temperature on the rate of production of electron hole pairs. This theory shows that for any intrinsic semiconductor, the intrinsic concentration Ni and hence the conductivity can be related as Ni is equals to A into T raised to 3 by 2 into E raised to minus E V upon 2 kT. Here this capital V is the energy in holes required to break the covalent bond, which is called as ionization energy. It is called as ionization energy. And capital T here shows capital T, this one and this one. This is nothing but absolute temperature in Kelvin, and small k indicates the Bode's constant, and small e is the charge of electron, and capital A indicates that the constant that depends on the semiconductor material. In the pure germanium, V is nothing but, that is 0.75. Just I am repeating, V is nothing but the energy in holes required to break the covalent bond, which is called as ionization energy. And in pure germanium, it is of 0.75 volt. And A, that is constant that depends on semiconductor material. For germanium, it is of 9.64 into 10 raised to 15 at the temperature of T is equal to 300 Kelvin. And we have also the Ni, that is intrinsic concentration. That intrinsic concentration is nothing but 2.5 into 10 raised to 19. 2.5 into 10 raised to 19 electrons or holes per meter cube. Electrons or holes per meter cube. Okay. This table shows some practical pictorial form, which clears that the mu e and mu h, that is these two mobilities for three materials, semiconducting materials, that is germanium, silicon, and gallium arsenide. So you can see here mu E for gadolinium arsenide having a very high value, that is 8500, and at also in relative with the mu H for holes, silicon is having a very high value, germanium is having a very high value, that is 1900. This table clears the picture regarding the mu A and mu H for this germanium, silicon and gallium arsenide materials. Thank you very much.